about the noise, where legends rise. From the clouds to the crowd, this is Ckrowd, where Africa meets opportunity, where music meets magic.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon once again. My name is Adebayo Adegbite, and I welcome you to another episode of the Ckrowd Virtual Seminar Series. The Ckrowd Virtual Seminar Series, we talk to music industry professionals from around Africa, and they tell us their journey, where they started from, where they are, and their hopes for the future of the African music industry. Some of them even share insights as to how African music industry professionals can position themselves as global brands for a future of an African music industry that favors the day. And today, once again, I have a known face, someone that's actually been on an episode of the virtual seminar before, the founder of Ckrowd, and he's also a music business exec, and he has shared his experience in the music industry business in various fora in almost all the continents of the world. He's no other person than Mr. Kayode Adebayo. Kayode, you're very welcome to this episode of the Ckrowd Virtual Industry Seminar Series.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank Bayo. Thank you for having me here. I'm honored to be here, and yes, hopefully we'll be able to enjoy a good series together.
Quickly, without wasting any more time. So when we say the future of the music industry, what even is the future of the African music industry, especially as it pertains to the global music industry?
Yeah, so when we talk about the future of the African music industry, we have to talk from an angle of numbers, right? Statistics, have to have numbers, because they say numbers don't lie. So no matter what your ideas are, no matter how fluid they are, no matter how your good intentions are, we'll still eventually have to narrow it and land it on numbers, right? Number one, I think the African continent is the fastest growing continent right now. As much as this looks like a good, it looks quite good, let's say between the ages of 25 and less, we'll probably be around a billion two by 2035. So when you look at that number, a billion two, or even let's say on the worst case scenario, say a billion people. So meaning that on the African continent, a billion people will be 25 years and below. If you have a clear understanding of what music is about, on music from a business, from a consumption, from a product perspective, music is consumed by with young people between the ages of, let's say, 14, sometimes 16, to maybe like 32, basically. So most of the time, these are the taste makers of the music industry. These are the people that command and control how music is being consumed. And on the continent, it means that we have people up to a billion by 2035 that will be within that age range or more. So we are looking at maybe like a 1.2 billion people. And what that does is that it means that given what the Chinese have done, especially to make smartphones affordable, given the fact that one way or the other, the whole technology around internet communication becomes easy, becomes cheaper, it means that internet penetration on the African continent will most likely double by 2035. And also that means that close to 800 million people, between 700 and 800 million people, will be able to have smartphones that have internet connectivity. When you consider what they are doing now, it's very possible that you understand what they'll be doing in future. Right now, the African young people are not listening to Drake. They are not listening to Taylor Swift. They are not listening to Justin Bieber. Those people are listening to Burna Boy. They are listening to Whiskey. They are listening to Ayastar. They are listening to Rema. They are listening to Ashake. Is it going to change soon, where Africa eventually start to listen to the Western music? I doubt it. Would what they are consuming right now, Afrobeat and Amapiano, would it change in the next 5 to 10 years? I think it will change. Not that it will change totally, but it will morph generally, just like hip hop went through different types of expressions because it was moving around the whole world. So we'll see Afrobeat go through that whole situation also. And the good thing around it is that when we say Afrobeat, we know it's an umbrella name for music, right? or music genres on the continent, meaning that those music genres on the continent have not come out fully to be able to have their own form. So it means that there's a very strong possibility that what we call Afrobeat or what we call African music will go through all that also. Would it be very far away from the core? Maybe not, but it will have fresh, new, iterations. So it means that whatever music is available in the next 5 to 10 years, 800 million people will be connecting online to consume content, which one of the primary content they consume is music. Meaning that Africa will most likely have between 700 million to 800 million music consumers. That is the future of African music. That is the future of what we are looking at by 2035.
Thank you very much for that great bit of insight. Now, call you a founder in the music industry. It's not a word that we have very often, a founder in the music industry. Because, musicians create things, but when people call themselves founders, they just do it as a form of maybe a moniker or as a, but not as a tech founder. How do you think and tech generally will play in the future of the African music industry?
800 million people listening to music, consuming content. It means that they will need to be consuming it from somewhere central and somewhere that can allow that level of scale. It means that the internet is about the only place that can be central enough and have the infrastructure to be able to allow that level of scale for people that are consuming the content. Technology will enable how those things are patronized and paid for, and also how those content are distributed, how the revenue that accrues to those content are distributed. There's no aspect of that whole value chain that will not be based on technology. We need to be crafted into a kind of like a technology ecosystem also. The idea also is that because of technology, a lot of things will change. How most likely we consume the music might change. The kind of music we consume might change. How payments are done, how things are assessed, how analytics work, how statistics are available to be able to give information. A lot of things around that will be based on technology, and it will have to change in one way or the other into that whole situation. So, for example, we have a technology right now that is enabling talents, enabling professionals, talents in the music industry, not music professionals, not music artists, but talent that work within the whole ecosystem of music, how they are trained, how they are matched with employers, how they work on projects. This is what our technology is doing right now. How we are able to project those people, how we're able to profile them, entry-level professionals, middle-level professionals, top professionals that are between 15 to 25 years old. The platform is able to bring them in, profile them properly, and then use some form of algorithm technology or AI technology to match them with those that want to employ them, those that want them to participate in some collaborational arrangement. Our technology does all that right now. And that's more like you creating a hiring solution for the creative industry and, more narrowly for the music industry. So when you look at a producer most likely now might not be the producer, that we know in the next 5 to 10 years. So the idea basically is to be able to be very agile, not to be rigid, be able to open yourself up to a lot of knowledge, to a lot of information, and not be lazy about it. Engage those things. Don't be afraid of it. Engage those things. Eventually, the future that we have here will be a future that will be won by those that know how to leverage technology, and not those that just wait for technology to kind of consume them out of what their roles are supposed to be in the music or creative industry.
Thank you very much. This is very good. It's a very great initiative. The way you described the Africa of the future is certainly attractive. Any music professional will be interested in. But what mindset should professionals who want to plug into this Africa of the future, the African workplace, what mindsets should they have?
Number one, they should be open to information and knowledge. They should be like sponges right now, just taking in so much information, right? Because I believe that when you have, they say knowledge is power. When you have a lot of knowledge about what is coming, you're able to understand where to position. Especially, for example, the Yoruba the Yoruba adage that says that, ogun agbotele kò kí ń parọ́ tó bá gbọ́n, meaning that a war that has been announced, quite early would not eventually catch the leper. Not the leper, the lame will not catch him lacking. Meaning that the moment you hear about the warfare that is going to happen in a few, announced already, then you start moving. You have disadvantage, especially in your legs. Then the idea is to start moving. So if you start moving immediately and you start going, there's a very strong possibility you'll be able to avoid being taken down by that war. And I think this is a very unique saying that fits very much into the music industry also. Now you've heard that AI is coming. Now you heard that everything will go online. Now you heard that, so much around technology, right? I think every music industry professional right now should now start to see that as an opportunity, to start to think, oh, what is there that I can leverage? What is there that I can do? What is there that I can position myself for that I most likely can become the number one or the number two, in that industry, even all across Africa. The world is coming to Africa eventually. In the next 5 to 10 years, you'll be amazed at what needs to be done that is totally dependent on Africa for global business around music and creative industry. So if these things are originally coming from you, if they need your intelligence culturally, if they need your intelligence from a business perspective, if they need your intelligence also from a market perspective, right, then why are you not the one making yourself available for such opportunities? So things are going to change. And I think the three areas that most likely I believe that things will change and that things will morph into is, number one, the area of music and tech integration will really become huge, because what we have as music ideas, what we have as music culturally, what we have as music from our heritage generally has not exactly fully plugged into the global technology infrastructure and system yet. There's so much music, so much cultural essence of what we have as music that is still very domiciled at the local level, very domiciled in the villages, very domiciled at the fringes, basically. Have we found a way to be able to say, okay, this whole thing around the music, this music in itself, let's integrate it with technology and take it live in a way where everybody can have access to it? So the fact that things are not exactly moving as fast in Africa, I believe is a very big advantage. It's a very big advantage and a very big opportunity that anyone that decides to solve that problem between now and the next 5 to 10 years is going to become very, very wealthy. Let's not forget that Africa is very big. Let's forget the map that they have for us right now. The real original map, you can fit in almost like Russia. As big as Russia is on the map, you can fit in almost 4 Russias into Africa. The people that designed the map that we have right now, they designed it, out of some form of colonial mindset, giving you a bit of feeling that other countries or other continents are far bigger than Africa. No, Russia is, end-to-end Russia, as you see that map, you can fit in 4 or 5 of it into Africa. Africa is huge. In the next 5 to 10 years, if the world will need music, almost, because in business, demand is what matters. When there's a huge demand for something, then business will go ahead to go and create how to service that demand. And from what I'm saying here already, 800 million people will be demanding to consume their own type of music that they love and they understand in the next 5 to 10 years. It means that the global music business will need to be positioning, will need to be structuring itself to feed that demand. There's no way they can do that without you as an African. There's no way they can do that without Africans. And that's the good thing about the world that is coming. So it's like a full circle moment. Now the world needs a lot of Africans to be able to kind of get music, the business of music, to go forward. So cross-border, and let's not forget the fact that Africa as a region, Africa as a continent is broken down into 3 or 4 types of regions. There's the Arabia Africa, there's the Francophone Africa, there's the Anglophone, and then there's the Lusophone Africa. And the good thing around it is that anyone that understands and has the capacity to be able to move through those different markets and find a way to create a solution for international companies to be able to move through those markets and be able to get value from the markets from the angle of maybe the size of that market to win different small markets out of all the markets of Africa, that person has a tendency to become very rich. For these international guys that are most likely coming and will have a lot of budget to be able to, to kind of like, new market development, actually. These guys that are coming have a lot of budget. Anyone that knows how to navigate and enter into new markets and capture that market for their clients. Someone that knows how to enter the Francophone market, that has all the necessary relationship and strength to enter those markets and capture it for their clients. Anybody that has the capacity to enter the Lusophone market, capture it for their clients. Anyone that has the capacity to go to Arabia, Africa, the North African region, capture it for their clients. That person has a tendency to become very, very rich. In the next 5 years, we might be looking at it being maybe like almost like a 50 billion industry. You have the gaming industry, you have film industry, you have fashion lifestyle industry, and these are multi-billion-dollar global markets. Gaming alone is like 300 billion, and then the sports alone is like 400 billion. So this is about one of those times where culturally and creatively the world is ready. The world must adopt Africa as part of its global ambitions.
Okay, thank you very much for, again, the long bit of insight. I mean, that was very, very expository and very explanatory. But now, the next question I want you to talk on. Now, we are looking at a bunch of people have already come out of, that demand for African products. From a lot of people have been able to take advantage of it, mostly artists. Likes of Whiskey, likes of Burna Boy, whose songs are now being performed, who are performing all over the world. The likes of Tyler, the producers like SARS, and a lot of them. So, but do you think the veterans, do you think they are doing enough for the African music industry? And if you think they are doing enough, how can they be helping music industry professionals to be able to position for this opportunity?
Well, when you say veterans, does that mean people that are older or people that are, kind of like executives at the higher level? I want to clearly understand what you mean by veterans.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say people that are clearly at a higher level and who are in a position, perhaps financially, to give back.
The challenge we have is that on the African continent, there's always a tendency for people to be thinking about themselves alone when they are trying to approach matters around commerce or economics. Everybody has that tendency to say, oh, if I were the one there doing it myself, I can capture that value myself, and one way or the other, I can become financially well off and I can flex on the other people. And that's not the whole idea here. The whole idea here is that let us bake a big pie. A pie so huge that is as big as 1.5, that is as big as a pie that 1.5 billion people can cut a piece out of it and be very, very, very comfortable with that one piece that they even have. So for me nowadays, when I see guys that have ran through the music industry, especially guys that have done very well as musicians and they already have big brands, that when you mention their names are out there and all that. It's very disheartening when you see them now. And despite the fact that their names, they are nowhere to be found. And most of the ones that are found, that you can find, they are pursuing how to be able to have how to compete with the younger generation to have hit songs. And I'm like, what? You don't get it. You don't know how much opportunity is out there. A person that one way or the other has his stint as being a top musician, and somehow the trend has moved forward and younger generations are already out there doing their thing, that person should one way or the other step back into executive positions, into founder positions, into business owner positions, which can help position the whole culture, as it were, in a bigger stead, so that more can come into the culture and then they can be part of that. But when I'm still chasing, I want a hit single. When I'm still chasing, I want to be on stage. When I'm still chasing, how can I, recreate the next song? I think is the lowest level on what a top level professional should be able to do. Number one, a professional that has had his thing out there, and right now a new trend has come in, there's no reason why they cannot move into positions of educating the whole industry. There's a huge education and skilling deficit in the African music. Huge education deficit. Who is educating the next generation? That's one. Number two, if I want to be on stage and I want to perform standing beside somebody that is 15, 20 years younger than me, then who is the one setting up the stage? Who is the one putting the lightings together? Who is the one looking at investing into how the marketing and the promotion of that event is? Who is the one that somehow is curating relationships between the banks, what they call it, the bank, the industry? Who is there pursuing policies generally that is supposed to help the industries to become better and bigger? These are positions that all these OGs, as you call them, or veterans, should move into, because this is it's like how do I call it now? It's like it's like a machine. When you open the engine of a car, when you see the pistons working, the pistons will not take the space, will not want to take the space of the crankshaft. When you see the crankshaft working, it's not trying to compete with the oil that is oiling that whole situation, or oiling how those what do you call it, those parts, they work together. So everybody has their job. You have your stint out there. People know you are popular. It means that popularity, you can take it and start to knock the doors of the private sector. That when you knock the door and they say, who is that? And you say, oh, my name is Tony Tetwila. Oh, Tony, please open the door for him. Let him sit down. If Tony Tetwila brings in a proposal that somehow allows, that is very uniquely in the direction of the music industry, everybody will listen to him. These guys have names to a large extent that are even beyond the Nigerian market. Meaning that if that guy is in Togo, meaning that if that guy is in Gambia, if he's in Kenya, he will get people to listen to him. And Africa generally is the market. When you start to look at your market being that small, 20 million people in Lagos, and you don't know that you have the capacity to impact commercially people in Gabon, people in Equatorial Guinea, people in what do you call it, in Senegal, because you are that big as a name, then you are just leaving a lot of money on the table. So what should OGs be doing right now? OGs should be positioning. They should be looking at it, that which aspect of this whole supply chain for the music industry, or this whole value chain of the music industry, can I participate in to lend my capacity to the whole extent of the ecosystem? And in that way, we'll be able to get a better music industry. We'll be able to a better music ecosystem, a better music industry, an industry that will be able to churn out the best of music talents.
Now, I think we are almost at the end of this insightful discussion. So I'll just ask second to the last question now. So now, I mean, with the look of it and your experience, you've been at this for a while. You are more on the business side. But if you are starting the music industry again, newly, perhaps at an age where you think you should be listening to music, with the experience you have now, what would you do differently?
Well, for me, I think the first thing is to make sure I have my business intact. You know, the business of the music, to have it intact. What a lot of young people don't know and they don't do is that when they get into the music, they are fully in pursuit of how to express themselves and how, you know, the passion that they have. Now they forget about the business of the industry in itself, right? And unfortunately, music as a practice, music as a lifestyle, is very expensive. You know, when you look at music, by the time you become a huge artist, there's so much media, there's so much light on you, that there are things that you used to do that you can't do anymore. For example, if you used to be the one that, you know, lay your hands on, all these thrift shops where you go and you buy, jeans, or you buy shoes, or you buy different things to wear, and you probably come out, you look cool, nobody really looking at you, or when they look at you, they even like how fresh you are and all that, because somehow you've been able to combine those things together. When you come into the music industry, the expectation becomes higher. Number one, you can't wear those kind of clothes anymore. So you have to look and have to show things in a particular way in order to be able to get the attention of people. So all those things generally put pressure on young people. So if for me, I'm coming into the music industry, I think the first thing I'll do is to be able to have a clear understanding of my business. What is my business? What is the business that I am bringing to the table, especially when I'm in the in the music industry of now? Music industry is quite very simple. It's just like politics. You cannot come forward into the industry and want to have some level of spread in the industry without having something that is owned by you to negotiate with. So you need to build your own stuff. You need to build a fan base. You need to build a platform. You need to build something that can become that thing that you take into the music industry and somehow create exchange with. So, for example, it's at the highest level of business is trade by barter, right? So imagine if I were a music artist and somehow I was able to build a venue, or I rented a venue on a long lease, and that venue, I have the opportunity to be able to play there once every week or twice every week for those 5 years. So all I need to do is to see a possibility of, maybe if I'm a DJ, for example, I'll have a DJ festival. I'll find a way to start a local DJ festival that will keep growing and growing and growing. If I spend 2 years of my career trying to build a DJ festival across a region, and eventually I have it in a way where all the DJs become my person, become part of my network, then I start to sell the network of DJs. Someone that is coming in from Lagos or someone that is coming in from Abuja, he wants to come and do something in this region, then I'm the guy to go to. Because those Okada people are my people. They listen to my music, they stream my music, and one way or the other, I have a mutual benefiting relationship with them. Maybe there's a particular thing that I do every year that they are part of, and that they benefit from, and somehow I am like their hero. It means that that thing that I have, when I want to exchange it for another artist, then it comes to me having a kind of like a discount value from that artist too, as regards whatever he has that I need. So imagine if I'm the one that kind of put them together, built a structure where all barbing saloons or all barbers are loyal to me. Then I start to use that as an exchange, and I kind of compact it with other people's influence. What other people have that I have, we exchange. This one has a have. That's what collaboration is about. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll go and find a platform that I, as an artist, I own, and I strictly own, and then I bring it and I flag it up, and I tell anybody that needs this value, that value is here, and if you want to come have value in your hand to come and exchange with me. I think that's the first thing. Then you put a lot of emphasis on your brand, right? How your face, everything about you, what you do, basically to have a name. When you have a name and then you have a community, then I think every aspect of business is sorted. So the show there's a business behind that show. So when you are doing a show, it's just a show. Don't go start to take that show and take it personal. I want to live it day to day as a lifestyle and think that, when we go and play at that show and we do everything we do, you now go back home and you go and sleep another extra 12 hours and wake up, lazily go somewhere and studio, you drop a song, and when you drop that song, your manager is even sleeping or you are smoking weed together, everybody's knocked out, So I think that, get the right business acumen as you are coming in, so that at every time when somebody thinks about that particular service, your name comes to their head and you can charge premium, because everybody wants you. You can charge premium so that even if you are working for only 1 or 2 people at the same time, you have the highest value that you can get from that stuff, instead of trying to work at a small pricing and you want to work with 15 people.
Okay, again, thank you very much. It's been a very great session. But then the final question before I let you go, because you've actually been a wonderful guest today. Now, what is your perception of the future of African music, given the systemic issues that we still currently face in Africa? Do we have something to hope about, or do you think it's just maybe castles in the air, the dreams the potentials that you talked about and that we have in Africa?
So for me, right, I always believe that anywhere Nigerians, especially, or Africans, when they see money, Africans learn to quickly adapt and find a way to dig deeper into eventually getting part of that money, right? Especially Nigerians, right? So what I found out is that I remember, let's talk about it for the tech company, for the tech industry. I remember when Paystack announced the fact that they are exiting their company at $200 million. Nobody believed and knew that such kinds of monies were already moving around in the Nigerian tech ecosystem, right? And what do we have now? You can see that there's so much that have come out of that discovery that, oh, there's money here. When you look at it also at the music industry, right? I remember that one of the things that sparked and created something in that music industry was when D'banj and Don Jazzy kind of fell apart. And somehow there was a bit of information that D'banj said that they were able to generate something billion naira from this particular music industry at the time when they were together and they were at the top of their game, right? Everybody was like, wow, so this kind of money exists here. And look at what has come out of that now. Look at how the music industry has blown out into the global stuff. So the good thing around it is that money is a good incentive to be able to get people to work. And the only thing around it is just that, everybody has to get in. You can't just sit down there and be complaining. You have to get in as an active participant if you really, really love the industry. We are trying to put our money where our mouth is. And I believe that, everybody should be an active participant in that whole space. So that if you are about trying to grow talents, yes, do that. If you're about trying to train talents, do that. If you're about, let me build the technology infrastructure that can get things running, that can scale what Africans are doing beyond this market into global market. Right now, the Mr. Beast of this world and all those guys are starting to compete against the big Hollywood studios. Why? Because those guys right now are investing in studios that are not as big as those Hollywood studios, but somehow are big enough to be able to allow those guys create their own productions. And those guys are putting money in those things. They are taking those content and those things they've created. They are landing them on the infrastructure, on the platforms. Those things are generating a huge number, generating huge numbers for them. They are getting returns on those investments. And those guys are reinvesting back into expanding those things and creating fantastic viewer experience through all those very unique productions that they create. Right now, they have become an albatross. They become a pain in the side of the big Hollywood studios that somehow, because they were too big, it was hard for them to be able to maneuver and be able to enter into this new realm of change that is happening within the creative space. I think that's how it is also in the music industry. For me, I believe that whatever you want to do there, you want to participate in that space. Are you the one building the globe, the national, what they call it? For example, I'm part of a global network now called ACA, that under that network, I'm consulting for music festivals on the African continent. Within that network, I think we have close to 60 music festivals spread across Africa and Latin America. And these are music festivals where you can say, okay, at the very least, 2,000 people attend my music festival, or even beyond that, 40,000 people participate in my music festival. Those things are solutions to the international market. For example, if somebody coming to Africa now wants to tour the African market, through this particular network of music festivals, you can easily get the person to be able to tour around or plug into a touring structure, or because this music festival happens in August, this one happens in October, and things like that. You have to be a solution provider. I saw this industry that we have now, I saw it 20 something years ago while I was in the university. I was telling people then, everybody around me then knew, I was always saying that this our industry is going to blow up. This our industry is going to blow up. This our industry is going to blow up. So for me, it's easy to just a bit, have my own positioning in that industry now because I saw what was coming. I said the music videos are going to change, into international standard. The songs are going to be creeps into international level. Our artists will move and start to go outside the country. And beyond that, when I started to see that they were going out of the country, but they were in clubs, small mushroom clubs that they were performing there, I said, no, these guys eventually are going to stand on world global stages. Music festivals will be demanding them, shutting down arenas and all that. So I don't know how I knew all those things there, but somehow I saw it. So for me also, now I'm seeing another 20, 25 years again. And that's why I'm a bit positioned here. And I'm hoping that this company that we have, which is Ckrowd to a large extent, the plan is that in the next 3 to 5 years, we want to own it, at least a $2 billion company. The plan is for it to be seen. You see when it gets to that level, and we are working day by day to be able to see that come to pass. It is because it will become it with or without you. So better you get in there so that you can be part of it, and of course, somehow you'll be rewarded if you're able to be properly strategic about it.
Thank you very much, Kayode Adebayo. You've delivered the thoughts of a true visionary in this episode of Ckrowd Virtual Industry Seminar Series. Of course, we'll be reaching out to you again to get more of these insights, because I know that the kind of insights you are going to deliver based on your experience of over 2 decades is not something we can get in an hour or in 2. Thank you very much. So, and with it, we have come to perhaps another end of another Ckrowd Virtual Seminar Series. As I said at the beginning, my name is Adebayo Adegbite, and I've been learning from another guest once again. He has spoken around a lot of things around the music industry, where it started from, where it is going, and what you will be doing to position yourself as an elite, as a problem solver in the music industry. And don't forget that right now on the Ckrowd platform, www.ckrowd.com, we have a number of opportunities available for music industry professionals. So if you know you're a music industry professional, visit the professional opportunities page, and then you will probably get an opportunity that will fit in. The music industry is open and wide for everybody. So it depends on what you want to do. It depends on where you want to be. Until I come your way again with another episode of the Ckrowd Industry Academy Virtual Series. My name is Adebayo. I say keep improving, keep proving yourself, and global stardom is not too far away from you. Thank you.